call the meeting to order. If we could stand for the Pledge of Allegiance, please. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Yeah, we're going to do a roll call as we have a board member online. Mr. Holman is online, so all votes tonight will be taken via roll call. So if we can do a roll call to start out, please.
Wendy.
Here.
Kristen.
Here.
David G.
Here.
Chip.
Here.
Dan Holman.
Sorry, audio is off. Here.
Noah.
Here.
Leslie.
Here.
Patricia.
Here.
Chad.
Here.
Sean.
Here.
Brian.
Here.
Andrew.
Here.
David T.
Here.
Kate Parker.
Here.
And Luke Tinkham.
Here.
All right, next up, executive session to consider the expulsion of a student pursuant to MRSA 4056B.
Second.
All right, it's been moved and seconded. There's no discussion, so we will call for a roll call vote.
Wendy.
Yes.
Kristen.
Yes.
David G.
Yes.
Chip.
Yes.
Dan Holman.
Yes.
Noah.
Yes.
Leslie.
Yes.
Patricia.
Yes.
Chad.
Yes.
Sean.
Yes.
Brian.
Yes.
Andrew.
Yes.
David T.
Yes.
Kate Parker.
Yes.
Luke Tinkham.
Yes.
All right, we will go into executive session. We will be back. All right, I'll call the meeting back to order. And I'm looking for a motion, please.
I would like to move that the board approve the two student agreements discussed in executive session. And further move that the board authorize the superintendent to sign both agreements on the board's behalf.
Second.
Having been moved and seconded, I will call for a roll call vote, please.
Wendy.
Yes.
Kristen.
Yeah.
David G.
Yes.
Chip.
Yes.
Dan.
Abstain.
Noah.
Yes.
Leslie.
Yes.
Patricia.
Yes.
Chad.
Yes.
Sean.
Yes.
Brian.
Yes.
Andrew.
Yes.
David T.
Yes.
Nope.
Oh, unanimous.
All right, unanimous of, yes, it's unanimous. All right, do we have any citizens' comments not related to the budget? Let's see, this is here. Do we have anyone online who would like to comment not on the budget? Please let Diane know. All right. We will move along. Do we have any additions, adjustments to the agenda by the board or superintendent? All right, seeing none, we will have, we have two policy, we have three policies up for first reading. And when it comes to the first reading, those are just in your packet for review. You can let the chair of the policy committee, which is Wendy, or the superintendent know if you have any concerns on those. And then the policy committee will take another look if folks have concerns. Right?
Yes.
Good? Okay, yep.
Could I just say for Policy KF, I want to say thank you to Dr. Smith, Mandy Fitzgerald, Brant Remington, Sean Drinkwater, Steve Voss, Michelle LaForge, the A-team, and our policy committee, plus many others who contributed to updating the facilities policy. It has been a major undertaking, and I want to say thank you to everyone who helped. Thank you.
Yes, I attended a couple of the meetings. It was a lot. So yes, thank you. So yeah, again, just reach out if anyone, review those. Any questions or changes, let them know. Thank you. Next up, we're gonna have a budget workshop. Dr. Smith?
So Diane is going to shortly share a presentation that Mandy Fitzgerald and I put together regarding our process. Unfortunately, Mandy was unable to attend tonight as she's not feeling well. And so we did have a video recording, so we have it all ready to share. I will say that after the presentation, we'll open it up for discussion. And if there happens to be any public comment related specifically to the budget, we also allow that.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you for joining us for tonight's budget workshop. I appreciate the time and dedication each of you brings to this important process. Tonight marks the first draft budget in our collaborative journey to develop a budget that serves our students, supports our staff, and respects our taxpayers. Before we dive into the numbers, I want to ground us in our guiding principle: to balance the needs of all members of the RSU 38 school community while maintaining fiscal responsibility. Today's focus covers 5 areas: the budget development process and how we built this budget collaboratively, our carry-forward history, our current unassigned fund balance position, our reserve accounts and strategic investments for the future, and finally, the first draft budget broken down by article. Let me start with how we got here. This budget wasn't developed in isolation. It's the result of a collaborative process involving multiple meetings over the past 6 weeks. On December 10th, the Budget Committee established our parameters. 1 week later, on December 17th, the Facilities Committee reviewed the 5-year plan and reviewed priorities. The very next day, December 18th, the A-Team identified reductions. After the holiday break, we reconvened on January 7th and finalized this first draft. The result is the budget you'll see tonight. Let me walk you through each step so you understand the thinking behind the numbers. The Budget Committee met on December 10th and established our framework. Brian Tarbuck was appointed as committee chair, and the committee set critical parameters: a floor of 4.5% reflecting our contractual obligations, negotiated salary increases of 4 to 5%, and health insurance increases of approximately 10%, and a ceiling of 5.5% representing what the committee believes our communities can reasonably support. With roughly 80% of our budget, about $19 million invested in staffing, any increase below the floor would require cutting positions. The committee directed the A-Team to review proposals and develop a budget within these guardrails. 1 week later, the Facilities and Transportation Committee met to review Director Drinkwater's comprehensive 5-year facilities plan. The committee learned that our 5-year facilities needs total approximately $4 million, and that FY27 is intentionally the lowest investment year. This lays the foundation for upcoming projects, including the middle school boiler replacement and Wayne Elementary ventilators. The committee reviewed a prioritization framework in which safety projects always take precedence, followed by projects categorized by urgency: Tier 1 for immediate needs, Tier 2 for near-term needs, and Tier 3 for planned improvements. This framework gave clear guidance on what to fund now versus what to defer. The very next day, December 18th, our administrative team met to review the full budget picture. When we compiled all requests, contractual obligations, insurance, and utility prices, we found a 6.56% increase above the 5.5% ceiling. All administrators reviewed their budget proposals for areas that could be trimmed. The A-Team identified $417,000 in reductions. These included deferring Tier 2 and 3 projects, such as the bus circle expansion, paving at Reedfield Elementary, and the baseball infield. We also found transportation efficiencies through route optimization and by reducing the number of bus purchases, and made program adjustments, including difficult decisions such as reducing a staff position at the elementary level and discontinuing summer school. By the end of that meeting, we had successfully reduced the budget below the 5.5% ceiling. After the holiday break, the A-Team and then the Budget Committee reconvened on January 7th to finalize our recommendations. After reductions, our estimate was approximately 5.31%. Then we added the CAT-C cost sharing. This formula has been in the agreement since 2022, but was never activated until now, and we did not learn about it until late December. The CAT-C administration is working with partnering superintendents to negotiate final costs, but we included the latest estimate. After making final adjustments and running actual numbers, we arrived at the first draft budget, 5.47% or $24.97 million. We're within our ceiling, but just barely. And we still have work to do. ED 279 state subsidy data is expected soon, and insurance and fuel costs won't be final until March. Now let me show you our financial foundation.
This table shows our 9-year history of using carry-forward balances to reduce the local tax burden. Our carry-forward amounts have remained relatively stable. This year, we're proposing to use just over $784,000, consistent with recent years. At the same time, our total budget has grown from approximately $17.9 million in FY19 to nearly $25 million, about 39% over 8 years, driven by inflation, contractual obligations, and expanded requirements. The key takeaway is that we've maintained disciplined use of carry-forward funds to provide taxpayer relief while responsibly managing budget growth. Now let's look at our current fund balance position. Starting with our audited fund balance of $2.76 million, we subtract the $793,000 already committed for the current year, leaving about $1.97 million, which is within our statutory allowable amount. We anticipate an additional $195,000 before the next audit, bringing our total to approximately $2.16 million. Based on this balance, we're proposing 3 strategic allocations: $784,000 to reduce the local share for FY27, $75,000 to establish a special education reserve account, and $400,000 to the capital reserve account. After these allocations, we'll maintain approximately $908,000 as a cushion for unexpected needs. Let me explain our capital reserve strategy. This ties directly back to what the Facilities Committee discussed. We're proposing to transfer $400,000 from our unassigned fund balance into the capital reserve. From that reserve, we plan to spend $300,000 on priority projects. This year's projects focus on critical infrastructure: the Manchester Elementary School roof replacement at $179,000 and the Reedfield Elementary School roof replacement at $95,000. These aren't discretionary. Both roofs have reached the end of their useful life. Addressing them now prevents costly water damage to building interiors. The net effect is that we're adding $400,000 and spending $300,000, increasing our capital reserve by $100,000 for future needs. We're proposing to allocate $75,000 from the unassigned fund balance to the Special Education Reserve account. Why is this important? Special education costs are highly unpredictable. A single high-needs student moving into the district can require services costing $100,000 or more annually. Without a reserve, these unexpected costs must be absorbed into the operating budget. This reserve provides us with a financial buffer to address unforeseen special education needs without disrupting other programming. You'll see in Article 3 why this matters. Special education is one of our largest increases this year. Now let's transition to the budget itself. Our budget is organized into 11 warrant articles that will be presented to voters. Let me walk you through each one. Article 2 is regular instruction, the heart of our educational mission. This covers pre-K through grade 12 instruction, including gifted and talented and alternative education programs. These funds include teacher and ed tech salaries and benefits, professional services, tuition, supplies, textbooks, equipment, software dues and fees, and diesel for field trips. The current year budget is $9.6 million, and we're proposing $9.8 million for FY27, an increase of 1.87%. This modest increase, well below the overall budget growth, primarily reflects contractual salary adjustments. Article 3 covers special education programs, including direct instruction, speech pathology, psychological evaluations, physical therapy, occupational therapy, out-of-district services, and program administration. The current year budget is $3.5 million, and we're proposing $3.9 million for FY27, an increase of 9.72%. This is a significant increase driven by student needs. The increase is due primarily to added out-of-district placements and additional ed techs required to meet special education program needs. These costs are legally mandated. When students require services, we must provide them. This is exactly why we're also proposing the Special Education Reserve Account. Article 4 covers career and technical education at the Capital Area Technical Center. You'll notice an unusual increase from $0 to $23,273. Career and technical education has historically been funded directly by the Department of Education, so we haven't needed to budget this tuition. The increase is due to the previously mentioned cost sharing required to meet the CAT-C program needs above the allocation provided through the EPS formula. We negotiated this down from an initial $85,000. CAT-C is developing a 5-year plan to address ongoing financial challenges. Article 5 covers co-curricular and extracurricular activities, including the athletic director, coaching stipends, referees, equipment, supplies, uniforms, and transportation for co-curricular and extracurricular events. Also included are costs for the regular education summer school program. The current year budget is $646,000, and we're proposing $607,000 for FY27, a 6.06% decrease. This is one of the few areas to show a decrease due to the elimination of the summer school program. Post-pandemic, summer school was essential, serving over 60 students, but participation has dropped despite extensive outreach. The A-team made the difficult decision to discontinue it and explore more effective alternatives during the school year. Article 6 encompasses support services, including guidance counselors, social workers, nurses, the library, and technology staff. Also included are expenses for instructional improvement, staff training, curriculum development, and student assessment. The current year budget is $2.4 million, and we're proposing $2.6 million for FY27, an increase of 6.58%. The increase is due to the third year of the tech lease program that was approved in the previous 2 years. This reflects our continued commitment to keeping technology current for students and staff. Article 7 covers central office operations, including the superintendent's office, business office, and board of directors. This includes legal fees, annual audit services, liability insurance, system software and hardware, and all other board expenses. The current year budget is $8.41 million, and we're proposing $8.48 million for FY27, an increase of 0.84%. This is essentially flat, less than 1% increase. We've worked to keep administrative costs contained. Article 8 covers building level administration, including school principals, clerical support, administrative supplies, professional dues, student-based fees, and graduation expenses. The current year budget is $1.52 million, and we're proposing $1.54 million for FY27, an increase of 1.31%. Like system administration, we've kept this increase modest, primarily contractual salary adjustments. Article 9 covers student transportation, including bus drivers, a fleet mechanic, and the transportation scheduler, supervisor. This includes all expenses related to transporting students to and from school, including bus purchasing and leasing, as well as fuel costs. The current year budget is $1.28 million, and we're proposing $1.4 million for FY27, an increase of 8.6%. The increase is for 2 new buses in the upcoming year. Transportation costs continue to be pressured by fuel prices and competitive wages for CDL holders. Article 10 is our largest percentage increase, and I want to explain why. This covers custodians, buildings, and ground supervisors, and the facilities director. It includes cleaning and maintenance supplies, purchased services for capital improvements, repairs, preventative maintenance, and grounds maintenance. All operational costs, including electricity, water, sewer, and heating, are included, as well as the school resource officer. The current year budget is $3.9 million, and we're proposing $4.2 million for FY27, an increase of 13.35%. This increase enables us to complete necessary capital improvement projects that ensure our schools remain well maintained. Remember, the facilities director already reduced this from an even higher initial request by deferring Tier 2 and 3 projects. What remains are essential needs, and the roof projects are funded through the capital reserve, not the operating budget. Article 11 covers debt service, local dollar-only debt services. The current year budget is $0, and we're proposing $0 for FY27, no change. RSU number 38 currently has no long-term debt, a testament to its previous financial stewardship. However, as our facilities age, we may need to consider bonding for major projects in future years. Article 12 covers school nutrition and reimbursable transportation. This category supports the school nutrition program and reimbursable transportation provided for RSU number 38 towns and recreation programs. We're proposing no chance for the FY27 budget. This budget is essentially self-funding through federal meal reimbursements and fees. Now let's look at the complete picture. The total proposed budget for FY27 is $24,974,865, an overall increase of 5.47% from the current year. The growth is concentrated in a few areas. Facilities maintenance at 13.35%, special education at 9.72%, transportation at 8.58%, and student and staff support at 6.58%. On the positive side, other instruction decreased by 6.06%. System administration increased only 0.84%. School administration increased only 1.31%, and regular instruction increased only 1.87%. Article 4's 100% increase is a technical change reflecting Cat C cost sharing that didn't exist before. This is a first draft. We have several more workshops to refine these numbers before the final budget in April. Please mark these important dates. The annual budget meeting is on May 13th at 7 p.m. in person only. June 9th is the referendum vote. And June 10th is the business workshop meeting to accept referendum votes and set local assessments. Your participation throughout this process is essential, and each of these meetings is an opportunity for community input.
That concludes our formal presentation of the FY27 budget draft. Let me summarize our key points. We used a collaborative process involving the Budget Committee, Facilities Committee, and A-Team. We reduced initial requests from 6.56% to 5.47% through careful prioritization. We're strategically investing $400,000 in capital reserves and $75,000 in special education reserves. The increase is driven primarily by facilities, special education, and transportation. And we've kept administrative costs essentially flat at less than 1% each. The budget is within our parameters, but we still have work to do as we await state subsidy data and final cost figures. Now we would like to open the floor for questions and discussion.
All right. questions, thoughts?
Yeah, real quick question.
Yeah, David, go
What
ahead.
was last year? Was it 4.75 compared to 5 this year?
What did it land on last year? I wish Mandy was here. It was,
4 point something, wasn't it?
yeah. Once it came, oh, she's texting me.
Okay, so it really isn't that,
Where did that?
It's not altogether different from last
no. Compared to, I'm sure there'll be a little
3.17
3.17.
after,
Health insurance for the last hour
Yeah.
is less than it had been budgeted.
Thank you,
on the expense side.
thank you.
Yeah.
It was mentioned that facilities went up 400,000, plus there was 300,000 allocated to it from our reserve. And then it said, but significant cuts were made to that. How far off are we with our facilities as far as we're investing an extra $700,000 in it, and it said we still made significant cuts to what was first proposed?
So in your board packet, we actually have a handout for you. So it's flagged. It's a sheet that looks like this. This was brought to the facilities committee.
Is it a pinkish flag?
I don't know if you use the same flag as this one. So that is Director Drinkwater's 5-year plan. And so if you look at that, the first section where there's a prioritization, it shows, you know, which we ended up keeping in the budget. So the yellow, the 439,000 is the total of all those. And then if you look at just the green, that's what the first draft is. Do you see where it says first
Yep.
draft? Okay.
So just to be clear though, when you talked about cut, the presentation was defer. So it wasn't cut, it was classification and deferment of tier 2 and
Correct.
tier 3.
Correct.
Classifying tier 1 as highest priority instead of looking at the whole and saying we can't eat that. So
Okay.
defer tier 2 and tier 3.
And of course, this process, you know, sitting here next year, you know, those other columns and, you know, with, you know, other things are gonna come up, the likelihood and the prioritization might shift around as we look at things next year. But this is the first draft budget. So even within that, this year's FY '27 column, there could be some movement.
Okay,
Yes.
all right.
And we do have a transportation and facilities meeting, I think, on February 4.
You're asking.
You're the chair.
Well, that's because I was late.
And
So,
that he's a part of it.
and so I think there'll be conversations around.
I just wanted to thank the budget committee. This is a lot of work.
To all the people, because of their majority of them are sitting here, but this presentation was one of the best presentations and overviews of this that I've seen.
You said
Go
the
ahead, David.
facilities meeting was on the 4th, I think it's on the 11th, is that correct?
I don't, yes, it's probably in the
You're gonna make me
calendar.
look.
The Transportation and facilities next meeting is like the first week or second week in February.
Yeah, February 11th,
Oh, it's in our.
I believe so.
Oh,
Mr.
yeah,
Chairperson.
Kristen, go ahead.
So at a previous meeting, I don't expect you to have solid numbers for me. At a previous meeting, you said that you were going to be asking more in the budget for, I can't remember your exact words, but, books, you know, paper versus technology. Did that come to fruition and what did it look like?
Yes.
If you feel comfortable answering, we don't.
Right, you don't have to give me numbers, I'm just, very curious and intrigued with what you found.
Well, part of it was already underway, and embedded in the budget proposal is continued costs for a math program, Carnegie Learning, through the Carnegie Foundation, that does have, and Luke and Kate could probably speak to it, but has consumables, so workbooks that you are tearing papers out of, you are folding, you are, much like my years of teaching geometry, the more you can do yourself, the more like Pythagoras you are, really looking at what math can do in the world. So there's that. And then there are some analogs in our social studies department and English department. So we're always looking for those ways, but that's one concrete way. And we will continue to look for that partnership, that sweet spot between what happens using technology and what happens using our own hands.
And so that was your reason why you wanted to go more towards the paper.
Yeah,
And so,
yeah.
I mean, as far as budget-wise, do you feel like that?
We're, with your support, we started that just as I came on board. The math department had done all the research and looked at, a math program that prioritized a hands-on component as important for learning. And we've continued to support that. And I will just mention, and maybe Mr. Muir will mention at some point too, it's a similar program that we've adopted at the middle school with hands-on activities, both instructional, supported by instruction, and also in the work, the learning part of the work. Yeah, so it's really starting in the math side of things, but it's definitely it's a best practice now, and we need to invest in it, so.
Cost-wise, do you remember any, was it like instant, or was it like, well, we're spending this anyway?
Yeah, I mean, we adopted a new textbook process through consumables, and we had a 6-year contract with Carnegie Learning. We've paid it within the first 3, so you're seeing a drop because we've paid for it, but we still have 3 years of books coming to us. So there is a long-term commitment, but we have continued to invest. Yeah. You're welcome.
Thanks. Any other comments, questions, concerns, information you want? Doesn't mean they'll have it tonight, but things you want the budget committee to look at. This is our time to kind of give guidance so that this is, for those of you who haven't gone through it, it's a process. You kind of see the dates and there'll be updates for the board, but if there's things the board wants, the budget committee to take a look at, now's kind of your time. I mean, if you don't have ideas right now, email superintendent, email the chair of the budget committee, and let them know. So doesn't come to the end and people say, well, why didn't you look at this on the final day? It's a step of the process. So that goes for people listening online too. It's a process, not when it comes to the public hearing and say, well, why didn't you look at, not a good example, but whatever, X, Y, or Z. So I just want to let folks know this is kind of your time. There's nothing bad you can, as long as it's appropriate to bring up. If you have ideas of things that you want looked at, I just want to make sure folks understand that now.
Mine is
Good.
going to be technology. So we have a 6.58% increase, which includes technology. And again, just going back to what technology we really need, for the younger students, what's really necessary to be investing in, knowing all the research that is coming out saying that the kids don't need or shouldn't be using those, that type of technology. So again, going back to what Michelle spoke about, that now best practice is paper. So, what the iPads at the elementary school are costing us, and do we really need to continue that? What the cost If,
Yeah, close your
if you want me to come to one of the meetings and share my thoughts, I'm happy to do that. You don't have to hash it out now. But I think it's something we need to look into at least in the next few years. Because the research is coming out saying this stuff is not necessarily helpful at those younger ages. And we're investing a lot of money into it.
Thanks, Kristen.
I think having conversations about that is important. I don't, with the little I do know, don't come out on the same view of not using technology for the younger grades. I think watching it and coming out with a balance that works right, but I also very much want to lean on the expertise and the experience of our A-team and teaching staff on what is working with our students, so that we don't cut something off just because of research. I think we need to listen to the research, but I'm not on board with cutting it without looking at it completely.
Yeah.
Yep, go ahead.
The additional 75,000 for special education reserve, is that something we're gonna do year after year?
Yeah,
Well, I know that's a very volatile spot because you're very contingent on what you have in your community. I just wanted to make sure that this wasn't just we set it up once and then we got enough cushion there, when if you look at the trend in special education, it steps up every year. Having a little bit of that cushion, I think would keep the community a little safer in case, one of those big bills hit.
Yeah, and I can assure you that, Special Ed Director Ryan Reserve is carefully monitoring constantly on the needs and anticipating, because we do need to be prepared and to be able to support our students.
Leslie, go ahead.
Though I'm on the committee, I still have a question, which would be, if there is a desire that's identified outside of what's included in the budget process, like how easy is something like that? Where does that come from and how easy is that to obtain? So I'd say that, does that automatically just fall into the designated unclassified funds? An example would be something simple Brant might encounter that's like, we really should do something about X, but it wasn't included in my budget, but it really is identified now and it's in our best interest. It's a low cost sort of solution to something. Like, how do those things work for folks in general? I think would be good to understand.
You go to Mandy.
I go to Mandy.
You go to Mandy and you have all of your rationales and the support if it involves something that it brought to A-team to discuss, depending on what it is. Mandy's gonna say, yes, I think we can absorb that because of something else shifted over here. We budgeted high here, or, it is important, like whatever article it's in, because, you try to stay within the articles, although there is some wiggle room to move funds from one article to another, but it's not common practice. We don't want to count on that. But there's a process that we do go through.
Okay. I think it's just good to know that and sort of say out loud that if there's something that comes, it's not that it's a no because it wasn't budgeted per se, without the case and talking with the rest of it. Got it. Thank you.
Excuse me. One thing I want to add, I've talked to Dr. Smith about this and probably is weighed into the budget, but I really want to make sure we're looking at class sizes from kindergarten, pre-K, all the way through high school. And are we getting the it's the budget, the best bang for the buck. Do we have classes, you know, what do our class sizes look like? Do we have, you know, you look at the chart and there's a kindergarten with 7 and 7 kids. Could it be 14 kids next year and have one class? Maybe that's in this budget. I don't know. And you look at a class at the high school, there's some small classes. Do we need those classes? Could we move that teacher to go around and do other things? I mean, I think we need to, lack of better words, an audit of that. And are we, you know, the budget does keep growing. I mean, from 29, I think it's at a 38% increase. I get that's cost, but have we gone through and looked and made sure it's just not, I'm not suggesting it is, but business as usual. I think we really got to look at, are we getting the best? And are there ways we could maybe use teachers otherwise? Pockets are getting tighter for people in our communities. Things are getting more expensive. And we've got to take a look at those things. So I really encourage the budget committee to request information when it comes to class sizes and what those look like all the way through. Anything else?
How is our student population? Is it going up or going down?
It's declining
It's still
at the
declining.
elementary levels.
So we're gonna see that wave
Future high
effect
school
come through the middle
It
school.
hasn't hit the middle school yet, but it's moving up, unless something changes and we have an influx of, we've consistently had the last few classes coming in from pre-K to kindergarten, first, second, those classes are smaller than our typical classes.
And I know because certain things you can't just go, we have a small class, so we don't do these things anymore. I know we're mandated, but I think to what Sean was saying, I think it's a very important part of that to look at it and anticipate what we have coming up through.
Yeah, just from my perspective, I'll beat this dead horse as long as I can. I think it was Benton Elementary School, $50 million for an elementary school, like 50 million. If you look at our facilities maintenance 5-year plan, you'll see some pretty big numbers in there, but nothing close to 50 million. And if you consider the debt service for that for one elementary school, you have to, as a school board, I think, start considering consolidation. And when do you start looking at that? So as you have lower and lower and lower class sizes, as those costs to maintain those older buildings increase, you're inexorably forced into considering how do you consolidate and when. And heaven help us if any of us are on that board when we have to make those decisions, but it's something we need to openly talk about all the time, much to your point about when we get the budgets and the A team works really hard to bring those up to us. They made a lot of changes, especially at the elementary school level, to kind of balance things out, move around some teacher resignations and whatnot. So I was encouraged to see that. Can more be done? Maybe. But looming large over all of this is the number of different schools we have and the costs per school. They're just not going down. And again, our longer range budget is a lot more frightening than just this year. So, but that's a great point you bring up, Sean. I think over 8 years or so is 39% increase, roughly 5% each year. We got lucky last year with the three and change, but certainly we can't count on that all the time. So, good point.
Would it be smart to do some kind of a study that looks at the cost of maintaining 4 elementary schools, a middle school and a high school, compared to consolidating and building something? Because I think, like you said, I mean, none of these schools have had any serious modifications since they were built. So sooner or later, I think, cost is, I get where you're going, but I think the trouble of talking about consolidation is going to be driven by cost. And it might be smart to kind of get ahead of that and go, in the future, we're talking about this school needs X, Y, and see for this cost, we could build a new school and consolidate those students there. And I think sooner or later that it's gonna be, I think, outweighed by what budgets turn into. Because you can't keep continuing to go up and complain. You don't like consolidation, but the cost is rising because of the lack.
Yep, that's,
But I think what would be a better place to start is to try to think outside the box of what our educational RSU could look like, putting the education first and how the resources could be shared or positioned and so on and so forth, and you get cost out of that. Because it would be better to start from the thinking of where we could have better benefits to our resources and where people are spread or not spread, or utilized in full capacity, or reutilized or double utilized, you know, than to start with where do we find money? Because the money part will come partway down the road, and you'll see already where some of that lives, and we can start to make multiple paths at that point and figure out what we can do to support both.
All great points.
I think that's good and very important, because there are ways that consolidation may save, but that becomes hotly debated, and the many times it's been proposed in the past. So proposing what will benefit the students best, together or apart, and as you said, and figuring out what will work and how it will benefit everybody as it saves us the taxes that go out and hit everybody, is very important, because the local communities need to be in on that decision, or it's not going to be our decision that we'll be allowed to make.
yeah, that's my point. Just all the more reason to talk about it in the open, right?
Yeah.
Just say it's gonna happen. If you're gonna redo everything that we do now, would you do it with schools all over the place? Maybe for transportation or whatever, but maybe that wasn't as big a deal 50 years ago. So Marina Cook's 50 years old this year. Happy anniversary. It's pretty good, but it's not gonna last forever. For some people, they were here almost from the start. I think Holman was here before it started. I have no idea, but
I was here at the very beginning.
the way he talked, right? So when you can think back that many years, you think, okay, well, can we afford to do this? And sooner or later, you don't want someone else making that decision for you. I agree completely. So let's work together to say this would be a great place for a different place, and here's how we're going to manage busing. We've got a plan, and then when we go to the state, hopefully there's some money there. Maybe that moves us up a little bit in our ranking as well. So we're not paying the full rate. It's a lot.
Yeah. Any other comments, questions? Feel free to, reach out to Superintendent, Chair, Budget Committee. I strongly encourage that to dig in now. It's a lot easier to dig in now and look at this stuff than it is at these later dates, so.
Just one final thing, if I may, just thanks everybody on the A team who was there and supportive and had some really clever and difficult ideas. I think that's where those decisions really need to be made, boots on the ground, not really at our level so much. So I thought that was great. Participation is excellent. I like this process. We talk about it a lot, hopefully ad nauseum, and that's great. And Dr. Smith did the whole presentation, and it's fantastic. If there's a way that we can get a copy of that somewhere on the website so folks can download it and review it at their leisure, it's good. I think Article 7, I think it said something like $8 million, and it was only $840,000, so that was a little disconnect. But otherwise, it was great. So thank you for doing it.
I know
Good process.
I ran into the Reedfield Town Manager and the Manchester Town Manager, and they are anxiously awaiting, so they will be watching. If they're not watching tonight.
I told Refield growing up 25%. Eric fell over, and I picked him up.
That's why when I told him the true numbers, he was like, gave me a hug, so.
That way, when you come back, but it's only 5, it's
Exactly
like,
right. I let Sean
I'm
do it.
leaving Tyler on baby breath.
Yeah, Tyler.
Mount Vernon's hanging out.
Yeah.
as long as I can make them.
All right, do we have any citizens' comments related to the budget? Is there anyone online that would like to comment too? Let Diane know, please. All right, I think we're good with that. Action, there's no action needed at this time. We're just gonna continue to work on that and hope the state also comes through on the ED 279, because I've seen that happen too, so. Fingers crossed there. All right, motion to adjourn?
So moved.